And this is like, if I'm looking irritated, whatever it is, this is real. This is a healing situation, so I'm not finna front. Straight up. This is my story, my truth. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about it. I've been through some childhood trauma, and it pretty much has had my whole life in shambles. It has been a journey. It has been it's not easy to tell your story when your story is a real story. You know, as a child, I experienced some trauma, and being raped at the age of 7 and left for dead in the park truly, truly, truly made me go through some things that other kids probably wouldn't have to go through. But I believe that it made me stronger. And because I went through those things, I felt the need when I was going through my healing. I knew I wasn't the only one that was hurting. I know that my story is millions of women's story. It doesn't matter background. It doesn't matter race. It doesn't matter age.
My mom, when I was about 6 years old, sorry.
That's okay, honey. Just take your time. And we really appreciate you opening up and sharing to help other people, as I know it will.
Went to live with my mum when I was about 6, and I had to witness a lot of things. Like, my mum had been in relationships where, you know, she was physically abused. Like, I would see my mum get hit all the time and just have certain people come in and out of the house and everything. And it wasn't, you know, I didn't grow up in, like, it wasn't private. It was a completely different lifestyle than I was living with my grandmother. Because my grandmother, at least with her, even though she was divorcing my granddad, but she always kept me clean, and she made sure no one came to the house, and it was just a different type of...
About how old were you at that time?
About 6.
Okay.
About 6.
So very formative years.
Yeah, like, I had to see a lot of... I had to sort of be an adult from such a young little age without even realizing it.
It's important that we are our brother's keeper. It's important that we let people know that they're not alone, and there's life after abuse.
My truth is empowering women, uplifting women with the pain that I suffered growing up as a black woman out of Detroit, Michigan, a young black mother. And that's my purpose, is to uplift women. I loved everybody but me. Learn to love yourself. If my past can help another woman, that's what I want to do. I want to uplift women. That's my passion.
My truth is, I believe in being liberated, empowered, and innovated. My story is, I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada, in 22 foster homes, endured sexual abuse, was committed to a mental institution. My father had molested me when I was 14 and took my virginity, and then I ended up pregnant with a child. It taught me to be strong, that I'm able to overcome any and everything in my life, that I'm a victorious person, and I'm able to empower other people with my life and my story.
I was a pastor's wife, you know, the whole stigma of being in church and being a church God-fearing woman and married to a pastor, and going through that, and we tend to put the men of God up on a pedestal and not realizing they are just men also. So through that marriage, dealing with abuse and abandonment, those were the major traumas that I dealt with, and it followed me, you know, throughout my life. And also because I didn't have that, I was a daddyless daughter. I had my father and my mother in my life, but he was emotionally unavailable. So I was looking for that love that I didn't get from him in men. And, you know, through those relationships were very traumatic. But, you know, the abandonment, it really scarred me. Like, in major ways. How could you like be with someone for 7 years and then boom, all of a sudden you're gone? Well, you don't fall out of love overnight, you know. So like what happened? You're left with so many questions and no closure. Like, what am I supposed to do now? You know, what it taught me is I have to stand on my own 2 feet. So that's what I tell my daughters now. You don't depend on anyone but God and the ability and the knowledge that He gives you to obtain wealth.
The reason why women empowerment is important to me is because it's all about helping impact that next generation to understand what their potential, their purpose, and their passion is. If we can tap in to help other women like myself to understand this, we can change the world and we can reach many, one person at a time.